Lisa.
And I'm Mike.
Welcome back to the A&M podcast. So,
So,
today we're talking about infomercials. And
infomercials. See, when I think of infomercials, I think of like the old school infomercials.
that's what I'm saying. So,
Yeah.
I I guess it was a while ago now, but I was sitting at I was at this restaurant, like sitting at the bar, and I didn't have like a clear. There was like a game on, obviously, on one of the TVs, but I wasn't in a good seat to see the game. So instead, on one of the TVs, it was basically 30 minutes of watching. Wasn't a bicycle, but because I watch QVC, I'm a QVC watcher, which is a constant infomercial.
That's true.
I don't mind a selling moment, but it was basically 30 minutes of watching the pedal bike. Like the pedal, but it's
Oh,
like,
wait. Is it those things that you put it on the floor and you just pedal
and you
it?
just pedal, which I think is more for blood circulation
Yeah.
over
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, if you're
over
somebody
like
who...
work exercise.
Yeah, if you're somebody who can't exercise because of like physical limitations or that, it's yeah.
And then
It
they
keeps
always
you
get
moving.
you with like, I mean, that's something like that's not getting me, but it is interesting to watch.
Right.
But then they always try to sell you with the this many payments
Oh, yeah.
and let's make it even easier for you, which I don't mind an easy payment
Right.
because it's not like a credit card where you gotta like worry about interest
Yeah.
or anything
Yeah.
like that. But what I hate about easy payments is when it is spent. Like, remember, we buy like those. I bought those steaks
Oh yeah,
where it comes with steak and
yeah,
chicken and
yeah.
whatever.
I forget the brand.
QVC.
Ristelli.
Ristelli.
Right? Yeah. They were good. I think we still... No, that's Butcher Box. We get Butcher Box now.
The thing with doing easy payments on food, though, because QVC does sell a lot of food. If you're doing an that's funny. If you're doing an easy payment on food,
Yeah, that's like
5 months later,
yeah.
it's been gone. I'm
Yeah,
still paying for it.
I know a lot of times QVC will have those where it's like Maine lobster or something,
Yeah.
some really expensive food, and they'll have it on easy payments. So you're paying like $20 a month for 6 months or something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, I already ate those.
Those have been
like,
gone.
why am I still paying for these?
Yeah, but I fall for the easy payments.
Yeah.
Free. It's always free shipping.
Yeah.
But who was I talking to? I think it was when we went out to eat the other night. The waitress was talking to us about how on infomercials it's always funny because if it's for something like, I don't know, like a pot that has the lid that drains the water out of it or something, they always make it seem like the old way of doing it is also just...
And it's always it's always black and white. The old way is
white.
always in black and white, and the person looks like a dunce because like they're trying to pour the stuff out of the pot, and the pasta falls all out into the sink, and they're just like, and their hair's
Dinner's
all messed
ruined.
up.
Hair's ruined.
Yeah, they're just like, yeah, they look like the most clueless person on the planet.
Yeah. So that brought me back to all of the old time infomercials. What was the one? Oh my gosh. I mean, obviously, you have what was his name?
Billy Mays.
Billy Mays, who just
R.I.P. Poor guy.
He was like the it guy for
he
the
was for a long time.
infomercials.
And the predecessor to him was a guy named Ronco.
Is that the British guy?
No, he was from the U.S., but he was like, I think he was like the first, as far as I know anyway, like the first kind of infomercial guy, the first guy selling products on TV. He had like, what was his big one? Shoot, was it the knives, the ninja knives? Maybe were one of his products.
Good one.
Back in
Which
the day.
now they sell them at all your Marshalls and Home Goods.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
The one that I was thinking of was the Magic Bullet. Do you remember the Magic Bullet infomercials?
Is it like you're talking about the blender thing, right?
The blender that can fit in your cup holder.
Yeah.
The blender that can fit, that's the size of your cup holder. That's how they...
The British guy.
The British guy.
I feel like when they have a British guy in the commercial, it's just to add some like gravitas. It's to add some. It's like, well, it's got to be credible. It's a British guy selling it.
And then they had the lady in it, and then the lady in it. I don't know if you remember, but because when I knew that we were talking about this, I went back and watched it, and what's funny about it is the lady in it. She's not just making smoothies; she's making everything. She's
Yeah.
making soup in it. She's making the one that really had my stomach going was the she made an omelet in it. And I don't know if you remember the omelet that she made in the infomercial.
No,
After this podcast, I think you should watch it.
we're gonna YouTube
We'll
it.
watch it as a group. And I recommend all of the listeners to do the same thing. But
Yeah.
she makes an omelet, and what kind of grosses me out about it is like I like chunks in my omelet, maybe I guess, of whatever I'm putting in.
Yeah.
She put like cubed pieces of ham in it
Okay.
and then blended it up. So now the ham is just blended up into.
Oh, so it's like ham juice. Yeah, that's not.
Why?
That's like so.
Just
Because
blend the
we
egg.
have that. What's the blender that we have?
The
big
Vitamix.
Vitamix, the expensive Vitamix.
Yeah.
And they make soup in those, like when they're doing that on QVC, which again, as you said, is a 24-hour
Because it
infomercial.
spins it so hard.
Yeah, they
or fast,
actually.
I guess.
But all the soups they make are basically purees. So you can make like a tomato puree. That'd be great.
like a
but,
lobster
like,
bisque.
Well, oh, I guess you add the lobster after. Like, how's that work?
Lobster bisque, I feel like you would add it during.
Okay, but then you're
Right.
ending up with lobster juice, not actual pieces of lobster. That's what I'm saying.
I feel like a lobster bisque usually is very smooth and
But it's
no
usually
pieces.
no good lobster bisque. You get pieces of lobster.
Oh well, you
Yeah.
know, I've only had the Publix kind, I guess, where it's
Oh.
literally just like it's like tomato soup but lobster.
But with lobster flavoring, lobster and lobster flavoring.
Yeah. So she makes that, and then in the infomercial, it's also funny because they have like the drunk guy that looks like he's coming in for his hungover morning after drink, and they hand
Yeah.
him the smoothie, and they're
Yeah.
like, it doesn't have alcohol in it, but it could. Like, very all over the place.
Yeah.
And then there's also the older woman that comes like in like with her cigarette, like
I do. I'm not. I definitely have to YouTube this after this, and I may even paste a little of it in here when I'm doing editing later.
so funny.
I mean, when our crack team is doing editing later, I'll ask them to do it.
The funny thing about infomercials, I guess, like after watching that one, to me is that because obviously I watched the extended, infomercial for the
Right.
magic bullet.
Right.
And the funny thing to me is they really do try to just hit every like scenario that you could be running into of why you need this product.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. It's funny because we're talking about infomercials, but another infomercial product that actually it's a little bit timely is the George Foreman grill, because George Foreman just passed away. So.
Love a George Foreman grill.
Yeah,
I'm a
George
big
Foreman grills
fan.
are great. Except, well, I don't know if I should say it. I used to work for an infomercial
Yeah, you
company, and the company I worked for got sold to the company that actually makes the George Foreman grill. So yeah, that company is the ones that make George Foreman grills. Now I don't know if he still owned like any part of that, or if he just like sold. I imagine
if he
he
sold
just
it
sold
off.
off the rights, the naming rights and all that. But
I love my George Foreman grill. I use it for a sandwich press.
oh yeah, yeah,
I use it to make burgers. Like, it makes really good burgers.
Yeah.
It makes amazing chicken.
yeah.
And it's so easy because you just put it on there. Now I'm turning into the infomercial, but
Right.
you
And
just put
it's
the
just
chicken
6 easy
on there.
payments
Yeah.
of
Free shipping.
$19.99.
They always get you with the free shipping
Yeah,
because
always.
why would I pay shipping?
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's slightly different, but that's the whole reason I have like Prime, Amazon Prime. Because
free shipping,
like
yeah.
half my salary goes to Amazon these days.
Yeah.
And I don't want to pay for shipping on top of that.
I agree, and I get it within some time. Well, they don't
Yeah.
do as many same days as anymore.
Yeah.
I don't know if you've noticed that,
not
but
as
like
much. Yeah.
it's harder to get same day shipping.
It is. It is.
Okay, so another one is the okay, so obviously you have Billy Mays, but then Billy Mays was introduced to the British guy. I don't know his name, But
Yeah, I forget his name too. I
then
know the guy you're talking about, but I forget his name.
they started doing commercials together.
Yeah, yes.
And that really was the dynamic duo of the
Yeah.
two.
Yeah, and then when Billy Mays passed, didn't he take over for him?
Yeah, he did. Of course he did.
Yeah.
Of course he did.
So.
And how did Billy Mays die?
Wait, we're forgetting about a big one.
Who?
The ShamWow and the ShamWow guy.
The ShamWow guy, I don't like him. I don't know if you heard. Did you hear about?
Over the top. Yeah, he had a. I don't know. There's something with him.
Okay, so did you hear that he sued? Who's that celebrity? It's a girl. She died over a drug overdose, blonde hair, back in the day, not Marilyn Monroe, but like
drug overdose, died back in the day.
Anna Nicole Smith.
Oh,
he sued Anna Nicole Smith for like, I'm probably getting the amount wrong, some amount of millions of dollars. Like I think literally, if it wasn't $4 million, it was $40 million. A really large. I think it was $4 million he sued her for.
Wow.
And it was because way back in the day, before ShamWow, he was trying to create some movie or whatever. Mm-hmm. And Anna Nicole Smith, I think it was Anna Nicole Smith, she was supposed to be in it, and then she just didn't show up for the movie. And he said that he lost $100,000 for her not showing up. So he sues her for some amount of millions of dollars.
Did not.
So I'm not a fan of him.
Yeah. Yeah, and
he's a little.
He probably made all that back on those ShamWows.
Man,
I don't know.
Do you have a ShamWow? I'd love a ShamWow.
No, I don't. We don't have that. We have like something that we got for cleaning the car.
It's like mouse pad meets microfiber.
Yeah, I don't know.
Love, and they really got you on those commercials as well. The amount of messes that they would. It's like when they man, I love watching a vacuum infomercial.
Remind me after the podcast, I have something for you.
Oh, yeah.
That may be a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah, that's right.
Unrelated to the podcast. It was not an infomercial.
I get a surprise. It's a used vacuum, though. Like, it's not,
Yeah, but it's a good one.
It is a good one. I'm excited about that. So I love watching a vacuum one because even when QVC has a vacuum out on there, if I was doing an infomercial myself, I would want it to be a vacuum demo.
Yeah.
Where you're just cleaning up like.
I like the ones where they.
So satisfying.
QVC does that, where they'll like take a bowling ball and they'll pull a bowling ball up a tube with the vacuum cleaner to show how much suction.
Yeah, like okay, I'm following it. You just got all.
We just lost all our listeners because the dog toy squeaking started again.
Everyone stop listening. Yeah.
Look, if we get enough listeners that we start generating revenue, then we'll have a studio. So, there's your motivation. I don't know how that's motivation for people to listen, but
tell your friends, and then you don't have to listen to the squeaking and the background noise.
That's right. Everybody's going, or I could just turn it off. I don't.
Yeah, don't turn it off.
Don't do
that.
Don't do that, please.
But yeah, like QVC, they do that all the time, where it'll be like a whole thing of pool table balls.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah, billiard balls. Yeah.
Billiard balls, and they'll just be holding them all there, and then they're like,
wait,
watch, we're gonna shut it off, and they're all gonna fall out, just so you know this isn't some kind of trick, live TV.
Yeah. What's funny to me about that is, well, that's an effective demo, not all that useful. There's not that many times that specific use of my vacuum cleaner is something I'm looking to do.
I like when they do the, like they'll do the cat litter test and then they'll shake the vacuum. But I mean, what gets me is the dry to wet ones. Because how did you clean up coffee grounds and Cheerios and pasta sauce off the floor back to back like that? How did you do that?
What did the inside of that vacuum cleaner look like after you did all that?
Yeah, I don't even think that far. I just think, wow, yeah, I could literally clean the entire house with that vacuum.
Yeah.
Give it how many easy payments? I only have to pay $15 a month for the next 6 months.
Right.
Half a year, I'm paying $15 every month for this vacuum. Usually, actually, it's more than that, I guess.
Yeah.
Whatever, sign me up.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just worried about the now. Like, next month, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So
4 months later, when I'm still paying for this vacuum, we'll figure it out.
Yeah. So I said before how I used to work for an infomercial company, and I worked remote. I didn't work in the office, but the office was up in New Jersey, and they actually had one of the studios, or they had, I guess they kind of had
Like a
multiple
demo
studios
studio.
in the building that the main office was in.
Mm.
And so you'd go there, and they'd have like a whole kitchen set up, and it was kind of cool because they were somebody that worked with Emeril Lagasse,
So cool.
um, some of the big name people, you know.
Hmm.
And there was one time that I was there, and they weren't selling a George Foreman grill, but they had, it was another basketball player, and I can't remember his name now. Shoot.
LeBron James.
No, it wasn't. He wasn't. I mean, he was a big name guy, but I can't remember for the life of me who he was. But they were selling a grill of his, and they were recording the infomercial for it,
Hmm.
and Shaq was actually there to record a
What?
segment of the infomercial, and it was the day that I was there, and I didn't get to see Shaq because I was like in
Yeah.
meetings, but everybody in the office was like dwindling down there to try to meet him and see him and all that,
Yeah. So
and
cool.
but there was apparently some weird rule where like you weren't allowed to try to take a selfie with him or anything like that, which I kind of get,
Probably to, yeah, not
that's
bombard him.
annoying and he's there for business and that, but
Hmm.
and I may be misremembering this, so or I may be misstating this because I think I heard it secondhand, but apparently he didn't know that he was there to record an infomercial. He thought it was like a show, like a cooking show that he was there,
Mm.
and he wasn't happy when he found out that it was like which I don't blame
Oh
him, like
no.
because he's very, I think, protective of like his brand,
Yeah.
which is understandable because he's spent his whole life building that brand.
Hmm.
But the funny thing is that then he ended up that company actually for a while had out. I think it was a shack. I don't know if it was a grill. It might have been a grill. It might have been like a portable grill that was a shack grill.
Yeah.
I think we have. I might even have one. So
I
I
feel like
don't
I
know.
remember something about that.
Yeah, yeah. So my
What?
interesting story about being in the same building with Shaq, but not actually getting to meet him.
Oh my
Yeah.
goodness.
So yeah, it was neat though seeing the studio because when you watch it on TV, it looks like they're in somebody's kitchen. Only there's like place for an audience, and
So
they had
cool.
other
Did they ever
parts of the
actually have an
studios too.
audience there?
Oh yeah, they used to do. Yeah, matter of fact, they used to rent out the studio for other people to use too, for different things because it was a complete, it was a full like TV studio that they had there. It was wild.
Yeah, because you also got to see from being there. You got to see that guy that I've seen on the
Oh yeah,
commercials
the
before too.
guy
What's
who
his
yeah
name?
the guy
Can't think of his name.
wow, Eric Thies. Yeah,
Yeah.
he used to be the QVC guy for their air fryers.
Yeah, for the air
Yeah, for the air
fryers.
fryers, which
Mm-hmm.
yep, love a
He
good air fryer.
love an air fryer.
That was another really good info. That's
That
why,
was a good
like we were talking
infomercial.
about, you feel like you don't see infomercials so much anymore. So the interesting thing when the company got sold is that they called that like direct to consumer business basically because you're not selling through stores, you're selling directly to the consumer.
Yeah, yeah.
And the company that bought them kind of let that business go. They weren't really. It wasn't something they were big on. The company
Mhm.
that I worked for was. That was where they started.
Yeah.
And so they kind of let that business go. So the whole idea that you don't see those so much anymore, that's probably part of it. Is like they were a big one.
I think they probably still have them in the middle of the night
Yeah,
like they used
definitely,
to.
definitely.
I think it's just that, I mean, we've talked about it before. People don't really have cable like that anymore.
Yeah.
I have YouTube TV, and I've seen a few channels where it's on late at night, but I mean, most of it's on QVC. Because remember that show, or not that show, that store that they used to even have in the mall, um,
Oh yeah,
as
as
seen
seen
on
on
TV,
TV. Yeah, yeah.
and it was literally
Well,
a
yeah, because
store with all that stuff in it.
the thing is, there's infomercials, but then there's also just like TV like products, I would call it, where it's just a regular TV commercial, but they
Oh
have the
yeah, yeah,
number at
yeah.
the end for you to call and order the product. Not the half-hour long infomercial, but just like the little.
Oh my gosh, when I was a little kid, I loved that. What was it? It was like the paint thing. The paint thing where it's, you know what I'm talking about?
No.
It was like the rainbow paint thing, and essentially looked like a
Oh,
sponge, and it had all the different colors on it, and you do
yeah,
it like this, and you could draw.
yeah.
As a kid, they really get you with that. If I had my own
Oh,
card
yeah,
back then, or you know,
yeah,
oh for sure.
yeah. Uh-oh.
But I
And
didn't even think of being like, Mom, can I have it?
yeah, that's funny.
Order it for me. It was
Yeah,
just like, wow, I wish
I
I could
think
have that.
another. Oh, it was the name of the company that Ron Popeil was called Ronco, and they used to have They had a
I don't
thing that
remember
they'd
that.
sell on TV that was back in the days when back when I was a boy. No, when
Right.
like records, vinyl. I mean, vinyl's a thing again, but
That is old.
it was a record vacuum. So it was a thing you'd
A
put the
record
record in,
vacuum?
and it would clean it, and it would get all the dirt out of it.
Oh,
Because if you
okay.
get dust in the grooves on those vinyl records, it makes when you
Oh, like
play
a
it, it's like
CD too.
scratchy.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Same with the CD.
Not
Oh,
yeah,
that's a record vacuum. It's so
yeah.
funny.
That was one. I remember that being one of their products.
What's your favorite infomercial
My favorite infomercial.
of all time?
Wow. I think it would have to be one of the Billy Mays. He used to do them for OxyClean, didn't he?
Oh
I feel like those were the
yeah.
best ones, right?
Those are
Those were the
good
best ones.
too. Those are like those satisfying things.
Yeah.
Like on have you ever seen on
Oh, and
Instagram?
also I feel like OxyClean is actually a good product. So
No, it is. I think that's what's funny is you think of those those products that they sell in just Target now, and the
yeah,
fact that they even needed an infomercial for it is kind of funny.
yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I mean, I think back in the day when those were really big, I think it was a lot harder to get kind of niche products like that into stores. Just because
oh
of the way
yeah.
distribution works and all of that, I think it was a lot harder to get those kind of things into stores. And it was a lot easier for them to just, sell it online, ship it to people's houses, and, you'd have a warehouse somewhere with it in, and they'd just ship it to people's houses. And it was a lot easier for those, especially like with those kind of products that it's always something new coming out. You know what I
Hmm.
mean? Um, I just feel like that back in the day that was a lot easier. And now,
Yeah.
things are different. Things are different.
I guess with something like that though, it's such a like it's upholstery cleaner, like a
Right.
carpet cleaner.
Right.
Everybody needs that,
Yeah.
especially back in the day. Everybody had carpet in their house.
Yeah.
There was this girl on TikTok, I think it was, and she was, I don't know, she was probably older, like 40s or something, 50s. Not that old, but just older. And she went into Target and she needed an upholstery cleaner. And she asked one of the workers, "Hey, where do you guys have the upholstery cleaner here?" The worker had no idea what she was talking about. And then she asked another one. Still no idea what she was talking about.
Wow.
None of them knew. She asked like four different people. The one older lady in her 70s knew what upholstery was. But all three of the
So they just
younger
didn't even know what
workers,
upholstery
they
was.
just didn't know what upholstery
Wow.
was. To even
That's
be like,
see.
what cleaner? Like
Yeah.
upholstery? Like what is upholstery? And she's like, do we not use this word
I
anymore?
know,
Like
right?
why does nobody in here
Yeah.
in their
That's funny.
20s, teens, 20s
I
know
blame the internet.
no one knows what upholstery is?
Yeah. That's funny.
And then she went
That's
up to
really
the
funny.
70-year-old lady who's like, "Oh yeah, upholstery's like, couch fabric."
Yeah.
She's like, "What?"
Yeah.
Upholstery. It's upholstery.
Yeah. I feel like that's another one of those things though that like I didn't learn it in school. You know,
You just like
it
knew
just
from
yeah.
like,
Like so, how do people not just learn it that way?
yeah.
People aren't talking about upholstery.
Yeah, they're not
Stop! You're gonna
using the
ruin the
word.
upholstery. Nobody says that. Like
Nobody
if their,
says that
I feel like their
anymore.
parents. I feel like that's a failure on their parents' part. Their parents didn't tell them.
I don't know why like upholstery. Maybe it's cuz I know the word, but upholstery just sounds like
Yeah.
what it is
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah.
It's not like you guys used upholstery like that.
Yeah.
I just
I
know.
know. I know.
I
Right.
don't know, it's just one of those things in my brain that
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
knows what it is.
Yeah.
I don't know. So that was funny to me. I was like, wow,
Yeah.
upholstery?
I'm just thinking back
What
to
other words don't they know?
like talking about the infomercials. Another thing they all used that was kind of that pressured you to buy too is that countdown clock that was like
Countdown
this
clock.
offer is only available for the next
Oh, yeah.
24 minutes or whatever, and it's like if I don't order it now, I only have 2 minutes left. I might want to buy it. So you panic and you panic buy. And then the other thing is they run those in the middle of the night, which
Yeah.
is it's also bad because not bad. It's good for them, I guess, because like people's resistance is low. So you're up and you're probably tired and your decision making isn't the best, and suddenly you've got a vacuum cleaner for your vinyl records coming in the mail.
There's
So
something comforting to me about an infomercial. There's something like QVC. There's just something comforting sometimes about having it on in the background.
yeah, it's a good I'm not watching TV thing to have on the TV.
I'm not watching TV, but I want some kind of noise in the house.
Yeah,
I don't
I
really
think.
want to
See,
listen to music.
I think a better thing to do those times is put on the A&M podcast and just let it play on loop because
You can just listen to
we've
us
done enough
talking about
episodes. That's right.
infomercials
Yeah,
instead of actually
exactly,
purchasing
exactly,
infomercials.
exactly. Because guess what? It's not going to cost you a penny.
That's funny.
It's not going to
Unless you
cost you
want to
any.
buy our merch, and
Yeah,
then
our
well.
merch, or I guess we do. It's funny, we do get ads.
Oh,
Have you
really?
had the podcast? I know I've had it
No.
on YouTube and ads have come up,
Why aren't we
which
making any money off of that?
I need to ask
Who do
someone
we have
about
to?
that. I know I need to ask
Should we
them.
call our agent after this phone
I
call
think we
or
should. I
after
think we need to
this?
get a meeting together with the board of directors, and find that out. That I don't understand because
That's
I
weird.
know you have to be to a certain level before you get ad revenue. So that tells me that,
Companies are
which
just
I
making.
mean, I guess the trade off is right. We're using their service space. We're using
Okay.
their service space for the
Cooper's being rowdy
podcasts.
in the background.
He
Sorry
is.
about that.
He is. It's that time of the day.
Um, I was gonna talk about something else, but I lost my
Sorry.
train of thought hearing the dog barking. There he goes.
And you know what I found with him is the more you try to quiet, he's like a little kid because the more you try to quiet him down, the louder he gets.
I know when I came over, um, y'all weren't here, so he was trying to like play with me.
Yeah.
He was literally trying to eat my hair,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
like
He's.
trying to hang on my
I
hair.
keep
I was like,
explaining to him,
Cooper.
people are friends, not food. But
Now he wasn't
he
doing
hasn't
it. He
learned
was
that yet.
literally eating my hair. I've never had a
Yeah.
dog like try to eat my hair
Yeah.
like that.
He's out of control.
Um, what else was I going to talk about? Now I forget. Now I
Sorry.
completely forget.
The
Oh,
dog ruined your train of thought.
okay. So talking about the food and the QVC. So one thing that is also funny to me about that, I would like to like the people who are on QVC that have you ever seen where they'll sell something, they'll sell like a certain food or whatever,
Uh huh.
and they literally have on the spread in front of them so many ideas
Oh
of
yeah.
what you can do with that specific
Yeah.
like single item. Like they'll sell like croissants or something that it's like it's a croissant.
Yeah.
They'll have it where it's on top of ice cream. It's in a savory sandwich.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
has fruit on it over here.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even when
They've
do
made a cronut out of it
a
somehow.
cronut out of it. Yeah, that's always funny to me because
Yeah.
I want to be that on that creative
Oh, actually
seat
coming up with the stuff. I thought you were going to talk about.
and making it look so beautiful on the
Yeah.
table, and then just watching it get cold, just
Yeah.
watching it get
Right.
cold and nobody
Well,
eats
that's the
it.
thing to me is like sometimes when they have that stuff there and like it's just sitting there for a while. Does does it eventually like go back into their break room and everybody just has like lunch? That's what I want to know. I
Okay,
know.
I've thought of that before because during the Christmas time they have a lot of food though.
Yeah.
So how much of that is really getting eaten? Like
I don't know.
you've worked
It's
in an office
wasteful.
before.
Is that what you're saying? It's wasteful.
I think it's very wasteful.
There's people starving and they're wasting food on TV.
So only because like, you know, you've worked in an office before, I've worked in an office before. I would imagine maybe a lot of those people are taking that stuff home
Oh, maybe. That's
because
good as long as it's not getting
people don't
wasted.
eat like
Yeah.
that in
Unless you go there knowing I don't have to worry about lunch. We're having a food presentation. I'll get something there.
I forget who I was talking to the other day. They said that in their office, I think it was when I went to dinner the other day. Um, they were saying that their office had like I don't know, like a celebrating day or whatever for the employees,
Right.
and they had food catered in for them, but they literally sent out a message saying, only one plate per person, please. Like,
That's funny. I had an equally awkward experience. So I worked as a contractor for a company that I won't mention the name of, but I was a contractor, an outside contractor for them.
mm-hmm,
And they were having a holiday party,
mm-hmm,
and it was kind of weird because like there about half the people who worked there were full-time employees in this office,
yeah,
and about, well, maybe more than half, and about maybe it was about, 2/3 and a third of us were contractors,
mm-hmm,
and not everybody knew who were the contractors and who were the full-time people. But anyway, they had
yeah.
like a holiday lunch in the office, but it was only for the employees, which was just odd to me because like
What?
everybody's in the office, like,
So
and
how do you
this is a
limit
very
that to
big
be
company.
like? Do
Well,
you
it was
just go
just,
and whisper to all the
yeah,
actual
they
full
didn't,
time
what they
employees, like,
did,
hey,
yeah,
food's in the break
they
room?
didn't, yeah, they didn't send out like the notice that went out to people only went out to employees that, hey, lunch is in whatever room, whatever meeting room or whatever. And it was really awkward because the one guy who didn't realize that I was a contractor was like, "Oh, Mike, come on, we're all going down for," and the one guy that was with him was like, and I knew about it, and I knew that it was just for employees, so I didn't, I
No,
wasn't like,
that's
it wasn't
so
as,
rude.
awkward, but it was just like, that was a weird thing to me,
Cause I bet there was leftovers too. Like I bet
Yeah,
there was enough
right,
food for all of
right.
y'all.
Also, like I said, I won't mention the company, but it's a very large company, so like they could afford it.
I just think more than anything in that case, um, I understand benefits and things
Yeah,
like that,
yeah, completely.
but you're
Yeah,
ordering a bulk amount of food anyways. Just
yeah,
order something that all
yeah,
your employees can have. That's
that
weird.
was just,
So
that
what
was
if
an
I
odd
wonder what they
thing
would
to
have
me.
done if you actually got up and just went to the break room?
Probably nobody would have
You
said
were
anything.
just like,
Yeah, nobody would.
oh, I didn't know
I
there
don't
was
think
food
anybody would have
here.
said anything about it. Yeah, but it was just a little.
What?
Yeah, that was a weird thing.
Oh, that's funny. Anyways,
Anyway, how many times did we say this time?
I don't.
I'm gonna put in. Should I do it? No, that's too much work. An
I think
counter.
is more of your word than my word.
Is it? I don't know. I caught you saying it this
No, you didn't.
time. All right.
No, I know
Now
like
I have to go back to the part where you said it and then drop it in again.
I know that like is my word, and I
You do
know it
like a lot,
because
but
ever
there
since
are times where like is appropriate, and some of the times that you use it, it's very
I
appropriate.
can't use any other word.
Yeah, it's appropriate to say.
I have been told that I say like a lot
Now,
though.
I think the one thing that we're still on this. I think the one thing that the person pointed out was that I forget what it was. It was,
It's because we don't get enough hate comments. That one that we
yeah,
get, we're like,
yeah, it burns.
shame on you,
No,
shame on you.
yeah.
It burns. We don't
Anyway,
get enough criticism.
so is anyway the kind of thing. So anyway,
No, we don't. We
no,
don't do that.
no,
Yeah.
we don't. We don't
Whatever.
do
This
that.
is a real podcast. This is
That's
how we
right.
talk. This is how we talk to each other.
That's right.
I say like a lot.
I apparently say more than I should.
You know, I don't
If
think
that's
it
what you're
makes.
saying.
I
Now,
don't.
now I'm going to be self-conscious because I assumed they were talking about you with
What? I
I
knew they
didn't
were
think.
talking about
I
me with
honestly didn't
like.
think I did any of it.
No, it's funny because after we saw that, and then I was listening to a podcast, and then I heard you saying like or something,
Yeah.
something along those lines. I was like, sounds uneducated. He's one of the smartest people I know. How are you going to
Wow.
say he's
Thank you.
uneducated? And I don't think I'm uneducated. I just think I don't know. Maybe I need to read more.
Also,
Maybe I'll take it like that.
there's also a point though to be made that uneducated and unintelligent are not the same thing. There are many very educated people who aren't that smart, and some people who haven't been through a lot of education who are very smart.
That's also true.
So
So
that's
yeah,
the thought for the day.
maybe I am uneducated, but I am intelligent.
There we go. That's the thought of the day.
Bye.